I just thought I'd do a quick video on a couple of charts of interest, a few charts of interest. I thought the dollar had initially broken down here through this support here, but now it's rallied back again to be above it's closed on support there on that candle. I thought we were going to get a decent move on it and get a bit more downside out of it yet, but it's kind of, it seems to have momentum to the downside still on the daily, but it didn't come through for me yet. So I'm just going to have to see what it does. It's a bit undecided at the moment. And SPY has rallied a bit, and it's still it's kind of it's in like a distribution. I believe this is where distribution didn't end up closing below the Kumo here, but it's gonna range up back up towards this high here now. So we've got to see if it puts in a lower high or not. If it puts in a lower high like this, it's going to be quite bearish. But then if the past is any guide, it's just gone blasting through and made a new high. So we don't want to rule anything out at this stage. But to trade this, you really got to go to my main trading method, which is my intraday template. So on the 3015, so that was a trade there. It was a good trade on a rebound there, but with the exit there. And you can trade, like I put on some call options just on. It was one strike, or it was already one strike in the money though, so that's what you often can do. It was only August 30 expiry, so it's a very short dated for what I usually trade, but I went for one strike. It was already one strike in the money, so by the time it's at our usual point of like 4 strikes in the money or whatever, then you can take an exit on it and just trade it for a very short time. You can do that for when you don't really know what the outcome's going to be. You don't want to go for a long dated expiry. You don't want to go for like a 2-month expiry because the options will be too expensive. You want to go for a short dated expiry and just go for one in the money, and you can get a good trade out of that. That was like, just with the small size, it was like $1,000 over $1,500 or something. So you can get, and there was still good liquidity on it. So that's another way you can use options. I listened to this podcast with Patrick Ceresna off Macro Voices. He started his own podcast recently. They're into a few episodes into it now, but there's some very good options talk on that one. Market Huddle, the podcast called Market Huddle, or the Market Huddle, I think it's called on Twitter, but I think on Apple Podcasts that I get, it's on just called Market Huddle, I think, and there's some very good options talk on that, and I've learned a lot from that, listening to that podcast, and it's a bit more light-hearted than the Macro Voices one. The Macro Voices is full on institutional talk, but this Market Huddle one's a bit more light-hearted and a bit easier to follow sometimes. But they're talking about Vanna. One of the Greeks is called Vanna. They're talking about, I've never heard of it before. It's a very good one. I'm reading up and learning about that one now. And I also found Volga, which is another Greek, which I had no idea about, which is also a good one. So I'm learning a lot from that podcast. And You're always learning something new, and it's quite funny too. Like they're quite funny guys on there. So E-mini's flattened out here. Now Nasdaq is also flattened out here. So after it rallied up there, and where did the SPY got up to? The SPY got up to the 100 MA and the Kijun here. That's what I wanted to say as well. So that was interesting to see where that resistance was there, and it was the Dow. The Dow's just not even breaking above the found resistance at the Kijun here and at the trender here. So Dow's not doing all that much. The VIX has dropped back now as I expected, and but it can still rally from here though because it's still above the MACD is still crossed up. It's still above the centre line, so you can't rule out that this is going to surge back to the upside again. So you just got to watch that, but you don't want to be too aggressively bullish on calls at this stage. But gold's flattened out a bit. Gold looks like it's going to come back a bit here, but it's just holding. It's holding a consolidation at the moment on the 4-hour. Copper. I would have thought copper would be doing better than this given the weaker dollar, but it's just holding. It's holding in this consolidation on the 4-hour at the moment. Oil bounced off this support here. That was like this retracement here was 61.8. This retracement of this leg here, so 61.8. It's very common to see oil hit Fibonacci levels and then turn off those, as it did here. This was another 61. This retracement here was 61.8%. Retracement of this leg down to here was 61.8. So now that's become support. So it's interesting to see these levels on oil, how they respect that, because most of the institutional traders look at Fibonacci levels. That's how come it's so accurate. And TLT has gone a bit into a consolidation here. I thought it was going to break down here, but it's holding just for now. And certainly been a huge run up here with the sell-off in stocks, and it's been quite and Bund has been just absolutely on fire. So that looks like it's well overdone now, but the MACD's crossed down on the 4-hour here, but it's holding this consolidation. So it's going to be interesting to see what that does from here. And DAX, what's the DAX like? Yeah, the DAX is kind of broken down a bit here, but it's not really doing all that much. Looks like it's going to have further downside on the DAX, but yeah, the weekly is very showing downside momentum at the moment. So it's going to be interesting to see if it does bounce a bit from here, but it looks like it's got more momentum to the downside left. Bitcoin's just stuck in this channel here. It's in this distribution range. The 4 hours just in a consolidation at the moment. But Litecoin's not really doing much. It's finding support here on the daily, but it's a bit of a rally on the 4 hour here, but it might find a bounce off this support here, but it's hard to say yet what it's going to do. And not much else to look at really at the moment. Pound's been down, obviously, with what's going on with Brexit and what have you, but I don't know if it's got much more to go to the downside yet or not, but I have to see what it does this week. Could be about the extent of it, but see how it goes. Alright, bye for now.